Hello and welcome to this fifth edition of the Workflow series. My name is Aaron Kornblit, and I'm going to kick this off by saying I'm extremely sorry for keeping you waiting for 4 minutes. It's been quite the day, but we are off to the races. And thank you, everyone. Thank you to you for joining. We have so many great people in the chat. Let me just see some of the names. We got Boris, we've got Antonio. Welcome, Antonio. Really means a lot that you're coming all the way from Italy. Good afternoon to you. We've got Tom, Corbin. Really appreciate all of you joining to this workflow series where we're going to talk about how to add search and dynamic filters to your Webflow website. I'm super excited, and it means the world to me that you're joining here today. I have to say, it's been quite the day to be here today. Personally, just getting here, living in New York, just trains were late, but super excited to be here. So thank you all for the excitement in the chat. Let's keep that going. Darren, Michael from Los Angeles, welcome. Means the world to me that you're all here today. So we are going to talk about search and filters. I'm super excited to dive in. I do want to talk a little bit about some updates to the general workflow series and live streams at Webflow before I jump into our main topic. So give me another 2 minutes. The first thing is I want to bring your attention to the form in the chat. As you saw about a month ago when I was last here, you can put your name in the credits to let everyone know that you joined today, just for some fun. And what you see on the stream is actually built in Webflow. So maybe in the future, I'll show you a little bit behind the scenes how we make that credit scene happen. So please go ahead and fill it out. I'd love to see some familiar faces in that form. Take a moment now. The second thing I want to bring to your attention is that some of you said, hey, like, how do I know what stream is coming up in the future? I got that question a lot. And so I did a little work with Nelson, making sure that we're organizing, giving you more options to subscribe and be aware of the stream. So if you allow me another minute, I just want to quickly show you. If we go over here, if you go to our community site, you'll notice that we now have upcoming live streams right on the homepage. You can click into Nelson's upcoming stream and you can go ahead and add it to your calendar. So appreciate the folks who came out and said, hey, like, we want to know what's coming in a couple weeks. We don't want to be surprised the morning of. So now you have the option of subscribing, adding it to your calendar. So that's it. That's the housekeeping for today. That is what I wanted to talk to you about before we dive into search and filters. So again, any feedback? How do we make the stream better? I want to hear it. Drop it in the chat. Let me know on Twitter. Email me. I have so much fun doing these, and if I can make them in increment more valuable to you or more fun, let me know. Let me know. This is our little space together. It's a little time every 2 weeks to have some fun and learn something. Okay, that was it. That was the introduction. A little longer than usual. Thank you for sticking with me. So welcome, Pablo, Raghav, Jake, Philip. Appreciate all of you joining, and you're joining at the right time because we are about to dive into our subject. So, talking about adding search to your website. So as you know, the goal of this stream is to take your beautifully designed website in Webflow and make it more powerful. So as your website grows in complexity, you add CMS items to it, CMS collections, multiple pages, you want to be able to sift through that information more easily from a viewer standpoint. So imagine you have a blog with hundreds of blog posts. You have an event use case where you're managing a bunch of events. You want to make it as easy as possible for your user to say, hey, I want this information. I don't want to click through all this stuff. I want in-person events happening in New York. Or I want a blog post that talks about cute cats. That's really all I care about. And I want to be able to find that very easily. So if you give me about 45 minutes, I'll give you 2 examples of how to make finding the right information on your website much easier. And we're going to tackle this in 2 different ways. First, we're going to talk about adding site-wide search to your Webflow website. When I say site-wide, it means it's going to go ahead and search on all of the pages that you want your search to should be what we call index. And I'll talk about it in a moment. And what's good about this site search is that it is available on all plans in Webflow. So I saw some folks in the chat say that they have search on their website. So if you do have Webflow, site search on your website, go ahead and drop a link in the chat. I would love to be able to showcase it as an example. So go ahead and do that if you have a moment. If you haven't enabled site search on your Webflow website, that you have a CMS plan or a business plan, the real question is, what are you waiting for? Hopefully at the end of this stream, you're going to know how, and you're going to go ahead and do it. Bonus points if you do it during the stream. Actually, no, don't do it during the stream. Do it after the stream. Make sure to watch this and then do it. So that's going to be our first topic for today. Second, we're going to show how you can use a marketplace app called Jetboost to add dynamic filters. So this is one of the multiple boosts that Jetboost offer, adding on-page filtering to say things like, hey, for these events, I only want to see in-person events, or I only want to see blog posts with this specific topic. So allowing you more dynamic user-selected search. So those are our two topics for today. I'm extremely excited to jump in here. Let's go talk about adding search to your website. So let me know in the chat if you're excited. Got some rocket emojis. Absolutely excited. Let's jump in here. Antonio, you can absolutely send a showcase. Whatever URL, drop in the chat. I would love to show off your site search as an example. So let's jump in here. Let me clean up my, like so. All right, let's jump into another addition, very subtle addition. Check this out. I can move myself now. I can go right to left. So a lot of folks said, move yourself. I can do that now. All right, so let's jump in here. So we're going to talk about site-wide search. Again, this is available on all Webflow plans. So if you don't have it, go ahead and add it right away. And our goal is to make this blog platform easier to navigate as a user. So if I go over to our articles page, you'll notice I have many articles, advanced Webflow tricks and tips, how to write copy. In fact, I have about 25 blog posts in this website. And you can imagine that I have a blog with hundreds or even thousands of blog posts. And I want to be able to give the users an option to search on these blog posts easily. So this is actually going to be very, very easy. So let's go ahead and add a search element onto this page. Now, to just give you an example of what you could build. So this is one of the websites I found in our showcase that has site search. So you click search, and let's say I search for Lisbon, because that is my city that I know in Portugal. There you go, and it returns every single listing that has the word Lisbon. So this is just one example of site-wide search, and we're going to be able to build something very similar in a very short amount of time. So let's imagine I want to go ahead and add site search in this top right in my nav menu. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unlink this instance, and just simply because I only want site search to be available on this specific page for now, just to show you how it's done. And then let's go ahead and go into our elements, go into the advanced, and simply drag and drop our search. And there you go. We have site-wide search. It was super fun to have you all today. We're done. We've just added search, and pretty much everything from here is, self-explanatory. I made that joke, and I don't know if you all loved it. I thought that was hilarious, but there you go. Okay, so we've added site search. Now, when you add a site search element to any website, a few things happen, right? So first, it adds the element. But what happens in the back end is that we add a search results page. So if I go and zoom in here, you'll notice that there's a new search results utility page. So that's one thing that happens when you add it. So if we go into those search results, we see our kind of basic search results page. So let's kind of look at this. Currently, it looks like it's not showing us results from our particular website. So there's a second step that we need to go ahead and do to actually implement, if you will, the site search. And it's to either publish our website or manually index the website. And the reason you have to do this is that this site search is powered by Elasticsearch, which is another kind of tech tool that Webflow uses to power your website search. So when you add a search element, Webflow needs to know that you are ready to send the information in your website to Elasticsearch for them to index your website. Just a fancy way of saying, hey, we're going to take the information that you want to be able to search. We're going to send it over to Elasticsearch so that they can index your website and return the right results when someone enables a search or does a search on your website. So to do that, there are two different ways. The first is, we're going to do that now, is to publish your domain. So I'm going to go ahead and publish. And once you've added a search element to your website, Webflow, when you publish your website, is going to send that information over to Elasticsearch to index your website. So if you are, so you go, it says indexing your site won't be available for 24 hours. So when you publish your website for the first time, it's going to take a little bit of time for Webflow to send your information. Every subsequent publish, Webflow is going to update the index, update Elasticsearch. If you are on the CMS plan, it may take up to 72 hours for that to happen. If you are on the business plan, it's going to take up to 12 hours. Now, we are not going to wait 24 hours. I'm respectful of your time. Let's go ahead and manually index the results. So let's go into settings, let's go into search, and let's say index now. So what this is doing is actually taking the information right away, sending it over to Elasticsearch. Now, one more small caveat here is that if you are on the business plan, you can manually index once an hour. If you are on the CMS plan, you can update once every 24 hours manually. So while that is happening, let's go ahead and look at the settings. How can we configure our site search? And then we're going to go ahead and style both the search element and the search results page. Does that make sense? Can I get some thumbs up in the chat? You know, hopefully I'm not going too quickly. Wanted to make sure I cover what is an index and what are the parameters for indexing. So let's go ahead and see what options we have for our search results page. Thank you, Webflow, for the thumbs up. Sylvan, awesome. Okay, let's go into settings. And the ones I want to bring your attention to are this kind of second panel here. So the first is you have results length. This is the number of results you want to return when a search, the maximum amount of results for a specific search. Let me zoom out and let's see what happens. Currently I have 10. If I lower this, you'll notice I'm only showing one result. So this really depends on the complexity of your website that you want. Let's keep ours maybe to 9. That feels about right. And let's go, next is snippet length. This is the length of the result that you see. Let's actually go ahead and kind of come back to this page. Let's see if we can get a few more results. There we go. Let me go back into the settings. There you go. And if we, the snippet is the amount of text that is returned for each result. Now, what Elasticsearch or Webflow search is going to do is try to find instances of the term that is being searched and then relate those instances in that kind of result. That's kind of similar to how Google does. It'll put in bold why it's returning that result. And we could control the length of that snippet, right? So let's keep ours to 200. That feels about right. There we go. Let me just input 200 exactly. So it's going to return 200 characters. And then you have the option of highlighting search results in the snippet. Let's go check whether the indexing is done. Let's go into search. So it seems to have worked. And let's go ahead and search for a specific result. Let's say we search for tricks. There you go. And we see that it's returned 3 results. These are actually native results. If we actually go and publish our website and go and try out the search, it's going to work, right? Simple as that. We've implemented, site-wide search on our website. So if I go, what tricks was what I searched for? There we go. We see those 3 results. Now, that took exactly 10 minutes. So again, if you haven't implemented site search, I'm really asking you why you haven't, because this is almost done. We just got to style this, and we are going to be good to go. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go over to the articles, and let's style this. Now, note that there's already a clonable for this whole website that you can go ahead and clone and work with. So I'm going to go through the styling pretty quickly. Shout out to Skylar, who designed this beautiful page. I could never do such fine work. And also Marley, who designed the original page. So shout out to both of them for helping me out and making this such a beautiful clonable that you can all use. So our styling, let's remove this. Let's call this search, which is just some styling we already have in place. And then I think this is called search input. There we go. Gotta get that little nice little radius there. And I think we have this search button. Okay, and we've just implemented our search. Let's give this just a little bit. Let's go down one. Feels like it needs a little bit of margin on the top. Let's give it 10 pixels. 11, sure. We're not pixel perfect here. There you go. And we have our search result, search input styled. Now let's do the same thing on the search results page. Now this is going to take a little bit more work, right? Let's go ahead and add our header at the top of the page. Let's go ahead and add our footer at the bottom. There we go. Now also notice that when you create this search, it's going to go ahead and kind of put some default options in place. So it puts in the standard container, a heading, a additional search, right? We don't want that. So let's go ahead and remove that. Let's also remove the heading. And I think we have a specific container style, which is called container. There we go. That gives us our little white background. Now, I want to spend a little bit of time talking about each of these results, right? So you can almost imagine, if you are familiar with the CMS, as each result being a CMS item, right? So you can almost imagine search as a CMS collection that is automatically generated. Now note that it is not in the collection. There's no site search collection. But what's similar is that each one of these is an item, right? And even the coloring is simple. Now you might be wondering where are these results coming from? Where are these items? Well, they're coming from your page settings. So if you go to any page and click into settings, the little cog right there, let's go to articles. Let me zoom out. You notice that there's a section called site search settings. And there are some fields here, which are search title, search description, search image, and then the option to exclude the page from search results. So you can almost imagine these as being your fields and each one of these pages as being an item, right? And this means that the search title for articles is this right here. I'm saying all of this to show you that when you go to your search results, you have similar control over what you put in. So for this link, we're saying take the page URL and take the search title and put it as the text of the link. Another example of this is I can go ahead and add an image. Let's go ahead and add an image. Let me just do control. There we go. It's right here. Let's add it to the, let's add it here. Let's move it to the right place like that. Now, this is just a blank image, but I can go into settings and I could say get image from search index. Result is an item in your site search collection. Makes sense? Great. Let's go ahead and style this. So I remember we had some style in the style guide. Right, so search result, then search image wrapper, search result text. Okay, awesome. Let's go ahead and just simply style this just to give you an idea of how this could look. Let me go into the container to the list and then to the specific item. We're going to call this search result. Boom. I think we have a div for the image. So reminder, you now have the shortcut Command-Alt-G to wrap a specific element in a div. So we're going to call this search image. I think it's called search image wrapper. Apologies. There you go. And then this is going to be search image. Not looking great so far, but let's see if we style the rest. I think these are currently should be in a div as well. Let me just make sure what Skylar wanted me to do here. Making sure this looks really good. Indeed, the text and the heading go into the other one. search results. So if we look, we can actually remove. We don't want the domain, the actual URL to appear, so we can simply remove that. And let's put both of these in a div as well. So we're going to wrap the link. Let's put this one in here. Like so, let's read. There we go. We're almost there. It's actually looking much better. And hey, Stacy, good to see you. Hey, Victoria, glad you're joining us. Welcome. You're at the point where I, fumble my way through styling something beautiful. So we have search text, search result text, if I'm not mistaken. There we go. This is looking much, much nicer. And I think we have here search. I think that's it. I think this is actually a heading in the actual original style that we have. Let me make sure. Say search heading. There we go. And then search result text. And we're going to have our search result page looking nice and good. Search. Oh, this is currently a link. Let's make this a heading. Search heading. Thank you. There we go. Okay, we're good to go. And then search result text. Okay, and we have styled our page. I think that might have been easier if I just tried to replicate it versus just try to reapply the styles. But that's a learning. That's a learning. Sometimes it's faster to build than try to rebuild what's already been done. Okay, I'm seeing some questions in the chat. At any moment, feel free to drop some questions in the chat. And make sure to fill out the form. Okay, great. So great question. Let me go ahead and show what this looks like, right? So if I open up site search, we don't have any search results. Let's go to all articles where we have our search. And let's go ahead and search for tricks, just like we did before. And we have no results. And that just might be because we haven't indexed. Did I not? Let's publish again. That's very weird. Let's actually go into here and see what could be happening. Let's go into search results. Let's look at tricks. It's not matching any results. Let's go design. Okay, it seems like design is now appealing, but we have many pages that are currently showing up for the wrong. Could we have excluded the wrong page? Let's go into here. Let's go into articles, which is where all of our content is. Let's go into settings. So we do have these pages. Okay, that seems to be working now. Okay, great. Let's go into articles. Let's go into tricks. There we go. Whew. We're good. Okay, and so there was a question from a Sylvan. Yeah, so the question is, can we search the whole website and see where the word appears? So let me try to bring that up a little higher. Let me go into a little higher. There's the question right here. So reading that out, is it possible to search a whole website and see where the word appears? So the answer is absolutely. When you do site search, let me zoom in here. You'll notice it highlights where the word is in that text, and the URL above brings you to that specific page. So this is how site search is built. It's going to go ahead and show you where it is, and then show you that result. So hopefully that answers your question. So where are we? So we've gone ahead and added site search, right? Like so. And it's going to go ahead and return all of the pages that have a specific word. Now, you noticed a moment ago when I was a little terrified that it wasn't working correctly, we looked for the word design, and it's returning these pages. So if I click on this page, doesn't have an image, the result feels a little weird. If I click on this, I see that it brings me to this interesting articles category, right? So this is our categories template CMS. And so every blog post is related to a category, and we automatically create these category pages that have all of the articles for that specific category. Now here, the word design, if I just Control F, design, appears right here. And it appears right here and right here, because the word design is in the title, description of this page or of that blog article. So what I want in my site search is to land the user on the blog post itself and not bring up this kind of like summary or a CMS list of blog posts with a specific tag. So what we can go ahead and do is exclude this page. That's where I was. That was the page we were just on. I can say I want to exclude all of these CMS pages from my site search. So if I go to site search settings and then exclude these pages from site search results, try to say that quickly 5 times. Now, the next time my website is indexed, so I'm going to go ahead and save that. I'm going to go ahead and publish. Now, note that this might take 12 to 72 hours, depending on which plan you're on, or you can manually index, right? If you have an index in the last hour or the last 24 hours, if you're on the CMS plan, you can go ahead and index, and those results will be removed. Best practice here: remove your home page, remove any summary type pages. Always try to search on the specific content you're trying to point to, and not pages that reference that content, because you might muddy the results. So that is what I wanted to show you for site search as our first step. So Darren asks a question here: Can individual results be styled? The answer is yes. So just like you can style CMS items, all of that styling still applies here with the same limitations, right? The second thing I want to bring your attention to, and I don't know if this was the point of your question, if I search for, let me go back to all articles here. If I search for tricks, oops, oh, I put a comma there and it still found the right results. You can style how the highlight is as well by styling the rich text, the bold in your rich text. So this uses the same bold that you have in your rich text fields. And so any style that applies to that bold styling will also apply to your search results. So hopefully, Darren, that answered your question. And that's what I wanted to show you for site search. Very, very easy, lots of control, and very quick to implement, and gives you that full kind of styling control. Go ahead and add a search element. Let me bring back here. There we go. So go ahead and add a search element to any page, and Webflow does about 80% to your Webflow website. It goes ahead and creates your search results page. It's going to go ahead and send it to Elasticsearch automatically, depending on what plan you're on, or the speed is dependent on what plan you're on. And you can go ahead and style that, and you've got site search implemented, ready to go on your website. So Elkin, I'm not sure which comment you're referring to. It's sometimes hard for me to read all the chat. So make sure that I read all of the messages that are sent either after the stream. So yeah, hopefully feel free to drop me a note, send me an email with any issues. Happy to get back to you. Cool. Okay, so that was the kind of first thing I wanted to talk about today, which is adding search. Now remember, this is site-wide search. It searches any kind of results that you wanted to search. Super easy to implement. The second thing, there we go. We're done with that one. We can go over to the second one, which is adding filters. So this idea of giving the user a way to narrow down what options they want to look at on a specific page. So this is what we're calling dynamic filtering. So you're giving the user the power to say, I only care about in-person events, red cars, pink cars, convertibles. So next is you can also do ranges. And so Jetboost offers these kind of varied filters, or boosts as they call them, one of which is on-page dynamic filtering. We're going to apply it to our blog use case, but there are many, many use cases where you can imagine dynamic filtering being valuable. So Jetboost is an app in our marketplace. Chris is in the chat, and so are Noah. So appreciate y'all joining and helping me out on this stream. I've been a long-time Webflow user, and one of the few members, I guess one of the first members of our marketplace, even before Webflow had a marketplace. Uh, um, so really excited to dive in here. Let me talk a little bit about the use case, and then we're going to dive into how to build it. So yeah, super excited, Noah. Let's jump in here. Okay, I'm going to go back to our browser, and I want to come back to that idea where we have these little blog categories, right? So interesting how to Webflow development design. These are reference fields in our collection. So each article refers to an article category. And then here we're able to link people to a page that has those specific results. So if I go over to my staging, you'll notice I can click into interesting Webflow and my URL changes. It goes to article category /Webflow/development. Now, I can imagine a world in which we want people to stay on this page so that we are filtering in real time all of these CMS items on the page. And you might say this is not the most impactful use case, and that's true in this specific instance where you're saying, well, why don't we just bring them to the page? But you can imagine if you have many events, very complex CMSs, we want to keep in folks on the page while they're filtering, maybe car ranges or kind of more dynamic search and keeping them on the page. And that's a use case I want to show you really quickly. One, because it's really quick to implement, and second, to show you the power of what's possible with Jetboost in the different boosts that they offer. So let's go ahead and go over to Jetboost, like so. And one example, actually, before I dive in, I wanted to show you an example that was built with the different boosts. So this is from Corey from the brand design team who built this no-code supply. So let's say I start searching for agriculture, right? It allows me to dynamically filter what's on the page. And all of this was built with Jetboost boosts. Let me know, Noah and Chris, if I'm Jetboost. Are they boosts? Are they Jetboost boosts? They're boosts from Jetboost? Making my job real hard here. Cool. Let's go ahead and add a simple dynamic filter to keep the user on boosters. They're called boosters. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, great. So I'm in the dashboard here, and we want to go ahead and add a dynamic filter to this page to keep the user on the page as they're filtering the CMS. So let's go ahead and add a booster. I've already connected my Webflow websites that I want to have boosters on. They're power-ups. There you go. All right, let's go ahead and add a boost. And there's a mention in the chat around other offerings from FinSuite or others. Those exist, and I do encourage you to go check them out. Do encourage you to kind of pick the one that works for you. I'm gonna go show off Jetboost in the essence of time. But yeah, go ahead and check them out. There's a lot of really cool apps and marketplace and people building amazing things in the Webflow community, and we are super thankful for all that. So I can't cover them all, so let's go ahead and cover this one, but do kind of check out which one is right for you. So we want to go ahead and add a dynamic list filters booster. There you go, which will allow the user to select what they care about on the page. So let's go create that boost. It's already kind of referencing my website, and we're going to go through step by step. So first, it's asking me which collection on your site do you want to filter. I want to filter my articles CMS collection. Which field do I want to filter on? It's going to be categories. So I want the user to select a category, which will filter the specific article. Can someone select multiple options? We're going to say no, because we want to keep our link, right? We want to keep our link block, not a radio or a multi-select. And do we want to add the selected filters to the URL? We're going to say yes, so we can create a dynamic link that we can send to people that will have the list pre-filtered. So let's continue here. I love this animation. I love it. It just keeps me very motivated as I go through this. So thank you for that. So we're going to add a little bit of custom code. Now, a month ago, we wrote code on the workflow series. I got some feedback that maybe that was a little complicated, a little difficult, and I appreciate that feedback. So we're going to go ahead and copy paste code today. I'm hoping that that is a middle ground between writing code and not using code. I hope we're okay on the workflow series to copy paste code. So let me know in the chat if we're okay with that. So I'm going to simply copy this code. I'm going to go add it to all of my header all the headers on the headers on all sites of my Webflow website. Let's go ahead and save that. Let's publish. Awesome. So once that's published, let's go ahead and test and continue. Let's give it a moment here. And Jetboost is going to check whether we've correctly implemented the step. Personally, as a streamer, I truly appreciate that. So thank you for doing that. Let's see. Let's trust. All right. Get another one of those. Nice little mood boosters. We're almost there. Okay. And here's where we actually help Jetboost identify what on the page is each CMS collection, right? So we should have two CMS collections, one for the articles and one for the categories. We need to help Jetboost identify which is the filter and which are the CMS items and collection that you need to filter on. So we're actually going to kind of do these same steps twice. So first, we're going to go ahead and identify the list wrapper and assign a class to the list wrapper. So Jetboost knows that these are the articles that need to be filtered on. So for us, if we go into our navigator, we have our collection list wrapper. These are our articles. And I'm going to assign a class, which is Jetboost list wrapper NW something. And this is going to identify for Jetboost which articles need to be filtered. So that's step one here. It's like step 1.1. Step 1.2 is embedding a little bit of code in each item. So again, Jetboost can say, okay, I now know what categories these items have and which need to be filtered. Again, I'm hoping it's okay to copy paste. So thank you, Darren. You appreciate both, so that's awesome. We'll definitely maybe write a little bit of code in the future, but going to take a step back and copy paste code for today. Got to please everyone today. So let's go ahead and add an embed into the item. So I'm just going to go Control K, Command K, polish, and we're going to add an embed into our item, right? Save and close. Now, if we go to our structure, let's move that up. So now in each of our items of articles, we have an HTML embed. And I believe it is publishing time. Let's just do it for safety. Always good to publish. Okay, and then let's say this is going to be on our articles page, right? So let's give it a moment to publish. It just did. Let's go test and continue. And it's saying, okay, I now am able to identify the articles that need to be filtered in your page. We're going to go ahead and do the same kind of effort for our links at the top, which is going to be our filtering mechanism. This is going to be our filtering CMS. So if you look here, these are all of our categories, which are also a CMS collection that we have a list of. And so we're going to identify the wrapper. We're going to go and embed a little bit of code. So Jetboost understands that when someone clicks this, we want to go ahead and filter the articles on that page. So we're going to go ahead and, we already have a link block, right? So we're going to reuse that. We're going to create a filter. We've already done that. We already have a collection, right, of our filter. Let's add the list wrapper class. So list wrapper, let's paste. There we go. That's done. And then I imagine we just need to embed a little bit of code in each item. So we're going to go to the collection item, Command K, embed, and then paste. Let's save and close. Now we have that embed in each filtering item in the collection, right? Let's publish. Got to publish for safety, always. All right. Let's go here. Let's zoom out. Oh, one more step here. Style how each filter option should appear when active. So what this is adding a combo class that shows what happens when a filter is active. And Jetboost will take care of turning that on and off depending on the selections of the user. So I believe we have a styling for the actual, let me check here in style guide. We do not. So let's go back to articles. Let's imagine that when something is selected, let me paste that combo class. We want it to be kind of highlighted, or maybe a yellow background. I don't know. I'm out to myself here. Skylar's not helping me out, so I'm going to do what I feel is best. So let's imagine that we want to, let's go to the text, typography, let's do an underline. So you'll notice that all of them are currently underlined, and that's because this is a combo cast that is active, but that will be turned on and off when the filter appears. Now, one last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the link to the underlying kind of collection page that has all of the articles of that category. And the reason is that JetBoost is going to filter on the page automatically. We no longer need that link. So Skylar says, make it red and underline. Okay, let's make it red. Let's say we want the text to be red. So I want the color to be red. Okay, let's save that. There we go. Oh, did I forgot to save it? No, I forgot to save it. There we go. Let's save that. Okay, so now we're going to have a red when it's selected. So let's publish that. Let's make sure that we've set it up correctly. So I see Noah thinks I got this. I appreciate that. I truly do. That's awesome. Okay, let's go make sure. Let's test and continue. All right, that seems to have worked. We're going to do one final check just for the little mood boost. There we go. That's awesome. Okay, let's actually, see this in production, see how it looks. Let's go here. And what our expectation here is that when we click this, it's going to go ahead and do two things. It's going to highlight it in red, in underline, and then it's also going to filter all of those articles on the page. There we go. Development, design, interesting. It's got that little animation, that kind of shimmy. I'd call it a shimmy. I don't know if you'd call it a shimmy, right? And it filters on that page according to tags. So that's how you implement a very simple filter using JetBoost, one of the many options in the marketplace or outside of it to create this type of dynamic filtering to allow the user to find exactly what it is they're looking for. So hopefully this inspires you to do two things today. One is to add site search to your Webflow website. Go ahead and do it. It's, a couple clicks and it's good to go. And you're going to get, folks finding the information that they care about. And second, I hope that it kind of gives you an idea of what's possible when you start building a more powerful website on Webflow. You can go ahead and, add dynamic filtering, ranges. JetBoost is one of the options in the marketplace that offers a lot of these kind of dynamic search options within Webflow. So huge thanks to Noah and Chris for building this. It's been absolutely super useful. So I'm going to go ahead and take some questions. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. So drop some questions if you have them in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and answer them. And now is a good moment. If you haven't already, go ahead and give us your name for the credits. Personally, it's my favorite part of the stream to do the credits and name all of you and thank you all for joining us today. So go ahead and drop your name. I'm going to go ahead and see if there are any questions. There are no questions in the chat. Was it that clear, everything that I covered? So I want to give folks another maybe 30 seconds to drop any questions you have in the chat. While you're doing that, I do want to kind of highlight what's happening next week. So I'm going to go to our community page. And so next week, we've got Nelson with 3 tips on how to use Webflow interactions better. Next, also on the Build and Bond, building cards that flip on hover. Go ahead and check that out. All right. Yeah, I'm seeing if there are any questions. No, there's just people just love. I appreciate it. Okay, awesome. Okay, well, huge thanks for all of you for coming. I hope I've given you enough time to fill out the credits. And this is, we're going to kick it off with, my favorite part of the stream. So thank you all for joining today. More particularly, I'd love to thank the following people to show it off. So Antonio, apologies, I missed your link. I will show it off on the next stream, I promise. We've got, the folks who helped build this stream. Jennifer, thank you. We've got Jake, thank you for coming. Sarah, Samson, if I can see that. Max, Yada. Who else do we have here? It's a little small. Noah, thank you for coming. And thank you all. Wish Upon a Star, thank you. So thank you all for coming to this week's Workflow series. I will be back here in 2 weeks. Nelson will be back next week. Thank you all for joining, and I will see you back here in another workflow series. Have a great day, everyone, and bye-bye.